Ready? Call the meeting to order. Ask everybody to stand for our prayer to be led by Pastor Maury Davis from Stone Chapel Church, and then remain standing for the pledge, please.
Father, I pray in the name of Jesus that you administer tonight through the leaders of this community. I pray that they would have the wisdom of Solomon when it comes to the issues, that they would manifest the love of God for the people that they lead and that they serve. I pray that you would give them the ability to produce unity in a divided world. You would allow them to have confidence, because we need leaders that we trust. Pray you would bless this meeting tonight with a spirit of truth and unity. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call.
Mayor Corbett.
Here.
Alderman Matthews. Alderman Silver.
Here.
Alderman Schweitzer.
Here.
Alderman Wall.
Here. We need to adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Need to approve the minutes from the August 14th joint study session and August 17th special called Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a correction. I guess it would be at the top of the page where Alderman Silver said that Nashville didn't allow chicken, but that's not true.
Oh.
Nashville does allow chicken, so there is a correction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to make a motion to?
Make a motion to adopt the changes and approve?
Okay. No second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to welcome our visitors. Quite a few more people than normal, but welcome. Thank you all for coming. We've got a proclamation tonight. You ladies want to come up? Whereas September 17, 2023 marks the 236th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitution Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebration which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas the United States Constitution has endured longer than any other constitution in the world, and has been used by many other countries as a model for drafting their own constitutions. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. And now, therefore, I, John Corbett, Mayor of the City of White House, Tennessee, do hereby declare the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week in White House, Tennessee, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of White House, Tennessee, to be affixed this day, the 21st day of August, 2023. Use it the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Goes to each chapter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for all the work you do.
All right.
One more. Thank you.
time. We've got several people signed up to speak, so I'll call you in order. Linda Ford.
Thanks for this opportunity. I wish to urge you to really consider and have a change of name for the park. A name implies what you look up to, and we need to point our children and our young adults to not just good, but to excellence. And I think that we could do better with the name of the park.
Thank you. Kathy?
I just wanted to come and reiterate what I had said in my email regarding the chickens in White House. I'm already hearing them in my part of town, which is less than an acre. I'm not as concerned with that as I am as it gets more widespread. They're notorious for bringing in rats, mice, raccoons. In particular, I've already chased one raccoon out of my neighbor's yard because he wasn't there at the time. It was pretty comical, but it's not something I want to do on a daily basis. They also draw in salmonella. There's all kinds of things that go on with chickens if you're not keeping the coop clean and turned. Ammonia is one of them, and it's not something you should be breathing in. Most people, I think it's parts per million, you actually smell it at 20, but it can affect your lungs at 5 parts per million. So it's things that you should really think about, and I hope that you can set some standards. I know we have already some standards on the books, but I believe that goes to an acre or more, and I know that we are not at an acre. So I would just ask that you all, go through and see some of the, the causes and the problems and the issues that go along with having chickens, within our neighborhoods. So that's it.
Thank you. We've got Tracy Herdman.
Tracy Herdman couldn't be here, and she asked me if I would read this for her. My name is Tracy Herdman, and I live at 810 Callista Road, White House. It has been brought to my attention that the White House Municipal City Park has been renamed Michael L. Arnold City Park. That man has caused a ridiculous amount of population growth, overcrowding in schools, and traffic nightmares. He turned our small town into a city. We, the citizens of White House, did not ask for any of this. So why should we honor this man who left to go to Florida and does not have to deal with the after effects? Please name the park anything else. Traditionally, you are not supposed to name a building after someone that is still alive.
Thank you. Ms. Debbie Martin.
I would also like to ask to change the name of the park. I didn't even know that it had been changed. I just thought it was White House City Park. I didn't realize. And I'm here because I'm trying to be more of a concerned citizen, and that I want to say that it should definitely be something different, maybe White House City Park or Citizens Park, since we all showed up to make a change. And I also wanted to ask consideration. I really don't even know if there's anything going on, but we like to play pickleball, and we've been playing in the Civic Center, what's left of it, until the new one is built. And I didn't know if there were any plans, or if there could be any plans to have outdoor pickleball courts. And we walked to the tennis courts the other day, but we couldn't play because of the construction and all the dust, and there were tractors or bulldozers out there. So I didn't know if there was any kind of plans for that or any consideration.
I think the new rec center's got pickleball. Is that right, Kevin?
And they'll be indoors?
It'll be indoors.
And so then you're...
Byron Park as well, on down the line.
Right. We'll have, the new parkland that we bought. I think there's plans
The
to
one
put
in the new
outdoors.
rec center, will it have more extended hours
Yes.
than what it is now, so like evenings and more open space? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Public hearings. Ordinance 23-13, an ordinance amending the Municipal Code Title II, Chapter 2, Library Board, Section 2-201. We've got open that public hearing. No one signed up to speak, so we'll close it. Communication. Alderman Wall.
Nothing today.
Nothing today. Alderman Silver.
Nothing, thank you.
Alderman Spicer.
Nothing for me.
City Attorney.
If y'all would like to get an update on the day then, we could go into executive session and do that.
Actually, I would like that, yeah.
Okay.
So we need
A motion? Make a motion.
second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's legal, cause it's a lawsuit, basically, is what's happening. So they don't want the general public to know.
Down the First Baptist Church.
That, yeah, it's where
They
McCurdy,
put the curb out of McCurdy here. And there's a big section that where people drive on the grass. And it's always busy. We can do that.
it's actually in the works, to redo that, paving contractor is not in the city right now, so when they come to start paving in our city, that's one of the first things they're gonna
Thank you.
No problem.
You was there.
Yeah, they took it out, yeah. Yeah, so it should be back before winter, it should be under August. It should be so we're still show up. That's on their list. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're the worst state.
I think we got a motion to go back into it, right?
Yeah.
Need a motion to go back into regular session?
Make a motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're back.
Do the roll call. I have to do the roll call.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Roll call.
Mayor Corbett,
Aye.
Alderman Silver,
Aye.
Alderman Schweitzer,
Aye.
Alderman Wall.
Aye.
All right, and city administrator.
Okay, we're gonna put some stuff here on the screen. The wastewater treatment facility expansion is still progressing, and so we have some photos, we're gonna show you a little video clip here of an overhead view of it. The old system is sitting side by side with it, and it's still working and operational for us, so.
Do you have potential completion date yet?
Yeah, we're looking at, substantial completion at the end of January.
Still waiting on the part.
They've got the parts in and all
Okay.
that stuff, yeah, that they were doing. I'll show you some more closer. I know we've been showing you some drone shots, and, but I want to show you some shots that they've taken, just some control panels that they've had to build. They're putting a concrete pad there, and they're going to put a canopy over that control panel. Go ahead and hit the next photo. Show you how big some of this infrastructure is. That guy looks pretty small standing down there in the alley. Go ahead next. Just they're in there painting areas of the infrastructure, and they were sealing some of the concrete down the side there. So that's what they were doing there. And then some more control panels, putting some water into it, starting to check it for leaks, that type of thing. And then the electrical room, they got expanded significantly to be able to put those control panels in there. I think that's it. And then we go to the phase 3 of 5 of the Southern Force Main collection line. That's still going. The pipe is in the ground from SVT Drive at TC Road to the treatment plant, and they still have to make connections and repave the road. They've had to, there's just a corner of SVT right there with Industrial Drive. There was some of their piping equipment. We'll go to the next one. Up closer to the plant behind Tate's, or right in front of Tate's, they had a drop yard there where they kept most of their equipment, their piping, and and just the last picture just kind of shows you what we had to do to the road. We pretty much took about a quarter of the road, I think, and stripped it all the way so they could put the pipe in the ground. And the whole road part of the contract was that they have to pave the entire road, so that'll all be done. It won't just be patched up. So we're happy about that. The developer behind Kroger has connected a water line to Stadium Drive at Indian Ridge Boulevard. I know they cut the road there so they can make that connection. They've started to cut the road in at the Indian Ridge Boulevard to Byram Drive. So you can see there they took the fence down. That's for the first one here, and then that's by the tennis courts. They still have the sidewalk that crosses there. I'm sure they'll be taking that out pretty soon. And then the other view shows you, looking back towards Kroger Complex. That road will go all the way through to Byram Drive, and there'll be townhouses back inside there. So that's that one. With the rain letting up a bit, the construction of recreation center is starting to make some progress. It was slow. I took some overview shots just to see some of the work they've been doing. It's mostly been that iron work that they've been doing, the concrete work. You see they poured a big wide footer there. That's going to be part of the retaining wall that they're building for the lower level where the game room is going to be, the gaming section. And just some more wiring here still. This is at the splash pad. They finally were able to get some trusses put up there on top of the building. Have a few more to go, and we'll start seeing the roof get put on there, and then they'll get that building finished out. Definitely before splash pad season starts next year. We want to make sure that is going right, Kevin. We want to make sure that they push hard on that, get that done. Next thing here is there's that soccer complex parking lot. I want to let you know we opened bids, and the bids are really high. We projected the cost would be nearly $1.3 million. The lowest bid was just under $3 million, and the highest bid was $5 million, pretty high. So TDEC, which was going to fund half the project, reached out to us, and they offered us 3 possible solutions. The first solution was to see if they could get additional funding to cover half the cost. That really surprised me because they were going to give us like $650,000. Now they're talking about giving us $1.5 million. The second solution was to reduce the size and scope of the project. It's kind of hard to do that. We could maybe reduce half the parking lot or something. That would be you have to go back to design to do that. The other one was just to not do the project, and I don't think that was a good idea either. We put a lot of time and effort and money into this project so far this year. I will say that Mayor Corbett has signed a letter to TDEC requesting additional funding, and if we do get approval, we will need to fund the other half. So I'm looking at the funds in both the Park Sales Tax Fund, which was going to pay for that, and also looking at Park Impact Fee, which we have some significant money there, to see if we can come up with our $1.5 million to match. My plan is by the next couple of weeks I'll get that together and I'll bring it to you at the October meeting, possibly with with a recommendation from TDEC and also with additional funding. That way we can match it with. I think it's there. I was looking at the numbers. I think we can pull it out and make it work for us this year, but I certainly don't think we would want to walk away from $1.5 million if we're going to get that in grant money. As you know, as council members, you always ask, can you get grant money to do stuff? Well, this is pretty significant. The grant is good until 2025, so we do have some time to try to work this out. It might have to overlap the current year we're in over into the next following fiscal year, so that we can have the funding to do the whole thing, so we can cash it. I'd rather cash the project than to try to go out for a loan for it. Also, the city's hosting the Sumner County Council of Governments Award Banquet on Wednesday, September 27th to 6th, and I can let you know the staff is working hard to prepare for this event. They even hung some lights out there today. I didn't know they were going to do that, but they're pulling out surprises for me every time I turn around. So looking forward to that next week. So thank you, Mayor. Oh, wait, I do have one other thing. Steve just has been involved in Leadership Sumner. He joined that. And Steve, you don't mind standing up and then tell us who you brought with you today?
4 of my team cohorts out of 17. We had an interesting retreat and it brought us all together. So I feel like these are my sisters now. So this is Maggie, Ingrid, Sunday, and Emma. Which is amazing. But so anyway, they just came we had to go to several meetings across the city, across the county. And so this one I guess counts for me because I have to present to you guys. So they wanted to come see our White House operates.
All right, great.
Good.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, we need to acknowledge our reports. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the report.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of the following resolutions. Resolution 23-11, resolution to adopt the property tax freeze program as provided in the 2007 Public Chapter 581 as amended. Got a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, this was an unusual request for us. We usually, the counties do this, and we take part in this program. We've never been asked to do a resolution, but Robinson County asked us if we could do a resolution. So that's basically what we did. We put the wording in there, what it does. I think it's a great program for our senior citizens, and so I think if you go ahead and pass this, we'll send the resolution over to their clerk.
Okay.
They have it on file.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of the following ordinances. Ordinance 23-13, an ordinance amending the Municipal Code Title II, Chapter 2, Library Board, Section 2-201, second reading. A motion.
Motion to discuss.
Okay, second.
Second.
All right.
The librarian couldn't be here tonight, but I did tell her that we made it through the first reading, and she explained it last month what that was really about. It was an unusual statement to have in their membership where they had to have 5 members of the same sex, and so we felt that was kind of discriminatory, and that's something that should be up to the mayor to make the selections of who goes on that board. So we'll leave it up to him to make those decisions.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance.
Be a roll call second.
Nope, second vote, sorry.
Alderman Silver,
Aye.
Alderman Spicer,
Aye.
Alderman Wall,
Aye.
Mayor Corbin.
Aye. Ordinance 23-14, an ordinance amending the Municipal Code Title 12, Chapter 5, Housing Code, and Chapter 6, International Energy Code, first reading.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Second.
So we adopted the 2018 International Building Code, the same as the state. We're consistent with the state. The state was on 2009. They just recently, in this last session, moved to go to the 2018 Energy Code. And as a plan of action, we're required to follow what they follow. So this is just being consistent with the state.
Okay. Any other discussion? Got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 23-15, an ordinance to amend the zoning map and re-subdivide land from R20 low-density residential and C1 central business to CPUD commercial planned unit development on Raymond Hurst Parkway. First reading. Got a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
So this property is at Raymond Hurst and 31W. It's currently zoned R20 and C2 on the end of 31W. Currently, as it sits, it could have residential, single-family residential units and commercial on the front. This PUD, or commercial PUD, will combine that to have 30 single-family residential and 8 lots of commercial. So, developer asked for the rezone.
And if we left it how it was, it would allow how many homes?
They could do approximately 20,000 square foot per home, so approximately about 30 homes, 32 homes, roughly.
But that would chew up the whole,
So
that
that's
whole
the
big
16
parcel.
acres. It would be 16 acres.
That big piece would then be all
Yeah.
residential.
Yeah.
And our long-range plan,
It calls for the mixed use in this area.
more commercial.
Yeah.
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 So by approving this, we're not getting any more houses than they could build
And what you
otherwise.
could build, yeah. And you're actually getting more commercial than
Right.
what's showing there now.
And if we didn't rezone, then they could put houses on that whole piece and
They
we'd
could.
lose it.
And one thing I want to point out is that if you approve this, it's tied to this plan. So this would have to be built there. It's not like another developer would come in and be able to build on that lot. They would have to build this plan. And if nothing happens on this plan in 2 years, 2.5 years, you planning commission can make a recommendation to rezone it back to the R20 and the C2 that it is.
Do we have any idea on timing? I know there was some concern because Publix is under construction now.
2024, 2025. And also I'll note that this is the first preliminary phase of this. It will have to be, when you approve this, that's what will be approved. You're gonna have to come back and do a final master plan. So that's probably another 6 months out just for that, and then construction plans will probably be another 6 months to a year before they get approved.
Okay, and that Publix development is supposed to be done, I think, by Thanksgiving or
Yeah.
so this should come after that.
Yeah,
And it won't be.
it won't be multiple construction projects in that area.
Okay.
This is like the third or fourth time I think we've looked at this property with different options.
Yes.
And almost all of them have been high density
Yeah,
residential.
with no commercial. I mean,
commercial.
first, group, they wanted to do 120 units with no commercial. And then they, started dwindling it down at the request of the planning commission. So, he was able to do the, single family lots at 4,000 square feet and then, accommodate and give us more commercial.
Are they gonna be responsible for the road work?
That's right.
The road work inside the project, yeah.
No, I'm talking about Raymond Hirsch.
Any improvements that they have to do, like entries and, exit and entryway on the site plan.
So as far as the widening of it?
Yes, any ingress, egress, detail, XL, lanes, they'll be responsible for those.
Is the Publix, is that gonna be widened out, we're just gonna have a turning lane all the way coming from 76?
They're gonna widen the turn lane, where it comes out at, Ace, before the water tower by, O'Reilly's.
Right.
It'll be widened there.
I'm talking about on Raymond Hirsch.
On the ramp, yes, there'll be an additional lane added there.
What I'm looking at is the amount of traffic's gonna be going through there, and, you're gonna have 2 lanes and a turning lane from 76 all the way to 31.
The plan for Publix is by the water tower there. There's going to be a new traffic signal that will be placed there.
Right.
With turn lanes that go in both directions because eventually they could go in behind the Orchard Park. So that's going to have a new entryway into the Publix. They want that to be their main entryway. They're going to have to do some widening at the 76 in Raymond Hirsch. They're going to be adding an additional lane and probably making some improvements on the Speedway corner to make that circumference a little bit better for trucks to be able to make that turn. And then, like I said, at the O'Reilly's, that's already a shared access driveway. That pretty much is going to stay that way. It might get widened a little bit, but that's going to be just another entrance for them to come in and out of their compound.
What about the section between 31 and that red light? That's what I'm more concerned about.
Yeah, that would, between 31 and the new Raymond Hirsch traffic light, yeah, that, like I said,
TDOT's already
TDOT will
signed
have
off
to,
on
it's a
that.
state route, so
Yeah.
TDOT will have to make any approval for any access points going in and out of the project and decide if there's any accelerator or decelerating lanes that they need to add to that.
But would the city be responsible for paying for any of that work?
No, anything required by TDOT, any improvements required by TDOT would be, required by the developer.
The only agreement we have with Publix, with Sembler, that's not Publix, with Sembler who's developing it, is that they would have a waiver of the road impact fees to offset the cost of all the improvements they're putting in place. And they're putting a significant amount of money into these traffic improvements, I think $2 million worth. So.
Does TDOT approve these entrances?
For Publix, yes.
I mean, no.
No, TDOT can't approve it until the city
Until we
approves
do
it.
it, okay.
Yeah, so it's, like I said, this is preliminary. This is, once you approve this is what TDOT, once they submit any type of, any plans, TDOT will approve that. So they won't even look at it until.
Planning Commission did review, I think it was unanimous to move
Yeah.
the project to Board of Mayor Aldermen.
The only comment I have is the green that we're going to be missing when this is all in. So, to keep as much as we can, there is a lot of green buffer in here, probably small plants. There's a lot of big trees out there. Citizens have requested to keep some or more, whatever you can do. And I know it's premature to request that, but.
Well, this is the right, you can't
The right time to do it,
buffer,
yeah.
so at least, at the master plan, we can look to see if it's adequate, with the master plan. So we'll be looking at it internally.
Any other
It's
discussion?
just to make sure, this is really just a zoning request, not necessarily approving this particular
Right,
plan.
yeah. Any discussion? Got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. An ordinance amending the fiscal, or ordinance 2316, an ordinance amending the fiscal budget for the period ending June 30th, 2024, first reading. Motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Okay, this is a request that I've asked the Finance Department to prepare for me. As we put in the memo, the Sage Road widening project in Madeline to Cardinal, the bids were brought in. lowest bid was $892,288. We had projected $750,000, which was going to be split between two different funds, $250,000 from the general fund and $500,000 from road impact fee fund. So I looked at to see if we had additional funding in road impact money, and we do. As of right now, when I looked at the fund balance at the end of August, we had $675,000 just in road impact. And so we have more. I need $650,000 total from the road impact fee to make this project go, so that we can continue with widening Sage Road. So the funds are there; they're available. We just have to do a budget amendment because I only budgeted $750 and not the full amount that I need at this point. So, but the funds are there, and it's not, and we're still going to be okay on our reserve in that particular fund.
So, the city plans to ask the developer for funds too, or am I on looking at the $76,000?
That's going to come in to help offset that cost. When we were designing the road, Cardinal Point was going in at about the same time, and we were looking at the storage unit in front of the storage units, and we're putting a sidewalk curb type of thing, like to continue with what we've already done on Sage Road. And so when the storage folks got ahead of us, and so they ended up putting the sidewalk in. We were trying to make sure they got the elevations exactly correct, so then we widen the road, it matches up with the sidewalk. Cardinal Point, they've looked at it, and they're behind us on getting that done, so they're willing to offset their cost that they would put in for the sidewalk and for the curb and gutter in front of their project. And they came up with a total price of $76,929, which they we will invoice them for that amount and get that back in there. So we would be short about $75,000 or so.
Which we have.
Yes, ma'am, we have that money in the bank.
Oh, yeah. Any other discussion? Got a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Purchasing, to approve or reject the bids from Rogers Group and allow City Administrator Gerald Herman to enter into a 5-year agreement for paving and milling services. Public Services Director recommends approval. Motion?
Motion to accept.
Second?
Second.
So if you guys seen the packet, we had a multitude of items that we had a unit price out for us. But if you actually look at it, we determined the contract quality by need. So in other words, the items that are both economical and best suited for the city is how we picked our numbers here. So if you have it in front of you, pretty much all the bituminous and all the milling portions of the contract that we pulled out, because that's 90% of the contract that we're going to use. And if you look at the numbers, Rogers Group is actually the cheapest of all the numbers that we pulled out. So basically the first 8 lines we pulled out, and on the second page I pulled out the extruded curb and the milling portion. And if you add those up, like if you're going to do a road, they're actually the cheapest. Now we did add like thermoplastic in there just to prepare for the future, because we don't know where we're going to be in 5 years. We have bike lanes, so we put all that stuff in here, so at least we have an idea of what's going to cost. But that's pretty much insignificant because we're not going to use it. So Rogers Group really sharpened their pencils on what we're actually going to use. So that's why we went with them.
Any questions, discussion?
I told Andy, I said I want to make sure we get the most road resurfacing as we can out of this. You know, looking at a stop bar striping it, whatever it was, 15,000, something like that, by one of them and lower another one kind of really messed up if you just add all the columns up, and then the numbers will look a little bit different. But when you get into the meat and potatoes of it, how much road can we get repaved? That's the numbers he pulled out, and that's what he came up with. Rogers Group, that's the lowest number for us.
All right. Got a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. To approve or reject the purchase of a 2023 Nissan Frontier truck from Allen J. Automotive off State Contract 76657 in the amount of $35,575. Public Services Director recommends approval. Motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
This was pretty straightforward. Mr. Stewart, who does all our litter pickup, his truck's a 2002, so it's 21 years old, over 100,000 miles on it. So I figured I'd get something a little bit nicer. He's not complaining, but I think he deserves it.
We keeping the old truck?
Yes, sir.
Under budget?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you know, it's funny because you say that, but we actually bid it out last year thinking we were gonna be slick and try to get away from the state contract with how long the lead times are. Wanted to come in at $40,000. So we actually budgeted 40, but now we came in at 35, yeah, or 50, I'm sorry, but yeah, 35,000. We say 15.
Good. Good motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. To approve or reject the purchase of a 2023 Ford Maverick all-wheel drive Super Crew truck from Lonnie Cobb Ford off state contract 75347 in the amount of $27,212. Planning and Code Director recommends approval. Got a motion?
Motion.
Second? All right.
This is to replace our 2006 Ranger. It's operational, but on its last leg. We'll do a swap. We're going to lend it or give it to the administration department, because Ed says he can use the 2006 truck for just some little things. But this truck comes in at $8,000 in the budget.
Okay.
I hear Andy's got a truck.
I'd be going from bad to worse. But it is $8,000 in the budget.
Good job. All right. Any other discussion? Got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. To approve or reject the purchase of a 34-foot Christmas tree with a star tree topper and various sized ornaments from Season Lights Design in the total amount of $34,605. The Administrative Services Director recommends approval. Got a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
All right.
Eric, I'm handing that to you.
That's yours,
Yeah.
man.
You up?
Last year we moved the Christmas tree that we currently have to closer to the building, the library, where the bike racks are. So when we moved it closer to the building, people started commenting how small it looks. It is 24 feet tall. The one that we have now, the diameter is probably 8 feet in diameter at the base. The one that so during the budget process, we discussed it and felt like we could replace it and move that tree to either the park or I know the museum would like it, another location, and have a bigger tree that will be the centerpiece of Christmas when we do the Christmas on Main Street, the Christmas parade, all that. So what we budgeted for was $50,000. So we quoted is to fit in the bike rack pad. It's 18.5 feet, or it's actually 21 feet. But we quoted 18.5 feet wide diameter at the base, and that will give us a 34-foot tall tree. That's not including the 6-foot tree or 6-foot tree topper, which is going to be a star. So total 40 feet tall is what we're getting, and that's including ornaments and lighting. Obviously, it'll be pretty lit.
Yeah, tell them a little bit too about the project you've been working on for the intersections over the last couple of years.
For the past, we started this probably 2020. Each of the intersection lights, we've added light up Christmas pole decorations. This past budget year, I budgeted to finish the entire 76 corridor. So that is, we just got the last snowflakes in last week, I think. So this year we'll have the whole entire 76 intersections lit up with pole decorations to be more festive. And that's where the complaints we've gotten over the past several years is we don't have enough Christmas decorations. So we're trying to get there.
Yeah, and a lot of other cities do it, and we sort of stuck out like a sore thumb, I think, for a long time, because we didn't really have anything.
Yeah, because previous we just had the Christmas tree, and that was it.
Yeah.
And again, this will just replace the main Christmas tree that we have. The Christmas tree is still functional. We're planning on having that at another location within the city.
Good. All right. Any other discussion? Got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. To approve or reject the proposal from Kimley Horn and allow City Administrator Gerald Herman to enter into an agreement for design and consulting services for the Parks Master Plan project. The Parks and Recreation Director recommends approval. Got a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
So we had 3 proposals turned in for this project, and obviously Kimley Horn was the one that our selection committee selected. It was unanimous for all the members. Not only was it this proposal, but it was the closest to our budgeted amount. So I can't brag and say that it's under budget, but it's a little bit more, but I think I can save some money on some other projects and to where we can get this done. But I'm very confident in this company to be able to do it. They've done parks master plans for several cities real close to us, like Phillipsville and Hendersonville and stuff like that.
So is this for the master plan for the new parkland, or are they looking at the existing park? All of it, okay.
Our entire park system.
Great. Timing on it?
On theirs, that was another positive. It was 7 months. So
okay.
Much shorter than the other ones.
Is this something, when we do our long-range plan for the city, I know we invite citizen input. Is that something that?
Yes, this will be part of it.
Good.
It's required, actually, because that's what started this was TDEC, or in the LPRF grant that I got for the soccer complex. They started requiring master plans, show your master plan as part of that, which I didn't have for this last grant, but obviously we still got it. But so that's kind of what precipitated this, and so
And one of the things we liked about it, Kevin, was the outreach that they were going to give to the public. A lot of times when we do these, we'll have a meeting at City Hall. We'll have 5 people show up. That's it. But they're going to reach out through, like,
we're going to go to our own special events and just set up there. So that's awesome. Pretty good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion? You got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. To approve or reject the bid from Rogers Group and allow City Administrator Gerald Herman to enter into an agreement for the Sage Road widening project in the amount of $892,287.20. City Administrator Gerald Herman recommends approval. Got a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Okay. This fits in line with the budget request I was asking for on the amendment. This is our next phase. We did the first phase from 76 down to Madeline, to the medical center. Now this phase is medical center to Cardinal. We're already starting on the next phase to do Cardinal all the way up to 31W. We're in early processes of that right now, trying to accumulate some right-of-ways and some easements that we need for that project. But I know the prices are going up and it's really challenging. I think we can get on this one pretty quick. We do have enough money to go ahead and start the project. By the time we do the second reading of the amendment for the budget, we should be all set. We should be able to finish this project. As a matter of fact, they've already reached out to us, hoping to get started fairly soon on this project.
Make a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go
Make a
ahead.
motion to approve.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Other business. To approve or reject subdivision infrastructures and street acceptance for Concord Springs Phase 1. Planning and Codes Director recommends approval.
Motion to discuss.
And second?
So, whenever the infrastructure is complete, it'll go into a maintenance phase for a year, and once it goes out of the maintenance phase, we accept the street. So, the Public Services team has inspected and agreed to accept it.
This is just the street.
This is the phase. This is just phase 1.
Phase 1 is just the street, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Streets, sidewalks, curb lights, curbs.
Right, lights.
All the public.
I know lights have been an issue out there.
Yeah, those solar lights.
Yeah. There's still an issue, I think.
Yeah,
but I think we've got a plan to replace all those batteries.
Yeah.
Right?
Or the bulb there going bad, we will get it.
Okay. And so I think you said we ordered enough that we'll have some on hand in case. Okay, good. All right. We got a motion?
And you said this is phase 1?
Phase 1, yeah.
Does that not say phase 1, 2, and 3?
That's the second.
That's the next
Oh,
one.
That's the next one.
Thank
We're
you.
on A.
Thank you. I'm ahead of the game. I make a motion to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. To approve or reject subdivision infrastructures and street acceptance for the parks, phases 1, 2, and 3. Planning Codes Director recommends approval. Motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Same as, Condor Springs, public services team and staff have, reviewed and willing to accept it. It's been beyond the maintenance period.
Okay. These have solar lights too, or these?
Park has solar lights.
Does as well. Yep. Okay, all right.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. To approve or reject appointment of Mr. Daniel Whited to serve on the Planning Commission to fill vacancy. Got a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Okay, second?
Second.
Well, I probably could go ahead. We basically, Martha Wilkinson had stepped on from her position on the Planning Commission, which left us an opening. I know Derek had already had some applications on file, and so the mayor had reviewed it, and the mayor made the decision this is what we want to go with.
Okay. Whited's back there. Say hey.
Hi.
I think he'll be a good addition to the Planning Commission. So.
Well, you didn't have to do a public interview, so congratulations.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Welcome to the Planning Commission. Discussion items. Changing the name of the Michael L. Arnold Municipal Park. Motions?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Here we go.
Well, here we are. So I actually brought this up for discussion today because I personally have had contact by phone calls, emails about the naming of the park being changed from what was done previously. So I thought bringing it before us would be a good opportunity to discuss it. We've had citizens come before us this evening to talk about it. So this gives us the opportunity to have an open discussion.
I had 4 emails wanting it changed as well.
Every communication I have received is for changing the name, either back to what it was or perhaps Mr. Jim Varney. I think there was a Wilkes that was on the ballot. So I believe that we should have at least someone who is passed away, number one. I think we should not have living people with their names on buildings. The other thing is, I mean, you have Vanderbilt, you have just Frist, you can go down the line. And that Ingram, and generally that comes from a substantial donation towards that particular property, building, entity. So I'm not opposed to it being changed to something. I don't know that we can do that today, but I'm for naming something else.
I could probably explain the process.
All right.
Yes, process. I mean, a proclamation is a temporary, formal announcement, like we did tonight with the Constitution. We do that every year because it's temporary. Resolutions are a little bit more concrete, but it's still, resolutions can be changed. That's why we had to change our annexation request from ordinance format to resolutions, because the state said, well, it's temporary. They could be de-annexed someday. So that's why we do that by resolution. Ordinance obviously takes 2 readings. It's a little more complex. It becomes the law of this land in the city of White House. So generally, when naming something, it's done by proclamation. So if you want to be changed, you can be changing it later. And I think you made a good point about financial assistance. Sometimes, like when we purchased the Byron Park, one of the stipulations was that it would have to be named the Byron Family Park, and it can only be used for parkland. Even when I asked for a possible little area for a fire hall, it was out of the question. So that didn't work. So it's a proclamation. I mean, it was City Park. It could be just named City Park, Central Park. You guys can remember whatever you want. It's temporary to another board or somebody else makes a decision. So I think we need to change it. And so simple sometimes is the way to go. But yeah, that's up to us. That's up to you four. And Alderman Matthews not here, but if you, I look at this one, two things. Either you make a recommendation to do nothing, and we leave it as is, or you make a recommendation to change it, which at that point, you tell us what, Derek will provide a proclamation, I'll review it for the October meeting, and then that would be introduced as a proclamation for the October meeting. And that's when the name would change formally.
One more question, are there signs?
Thank you, Linda, for asking. For asking that. We have no investment in it. Well, we put in the budget this year to replace the sign out front, because we had some other activities, we didn't have a dog park when we did that, and tennis court, whatever it is. So we have it in the budget to change it, but I asked Kevin just to hold off on replacing that sign yet until we know for sure what this board would like to do with that. Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, I mean, every bit of communication I've had is the same as everybody else's. I've had nobody wanting to keep it the same, so I'm not opposed to changing it and open any suggestions on what we want to name it, but I'm fine. I do disagree a little bit with Alderman Silver on the naming. I do think there's some people that are so impactful to a city that, like Billy Hobbs, I mean, I have no problem with this building being named after him. He's done a lot for the city, so.
There would be no city of White
Right.
House without Billy
But
Hobbs. He incorporated it, there wouldn't be one.
But otherwise, I agree. I think it should be left to somebody who's, I mean, the tennis courts, we've got a deal next month of naming those after Coach Rapune, who passed away a few years ago from COVID, so there would be no White House tennis without him. So, but yeah, I'll happy to entertain a motion.
Yeah. So I can make a motion to recommend a change to the name, correct?
Yeah.
All right. I would like to make a motion to recommend a name change.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Can you recommend a change? What that name might be, or do you want some time to, do you want a study session, or what would you like to do on that?
We can do a study session if you guys want.
I think a study
Do a study
session.
session.
All right, Derek, you got that? We'll set up a study session. Just give us 2 weeks so we get it in the paper and let the public know that we're going to have that meeting, and we guys can have a discussion. Be great.
Yep.
It gives you time to get some input from the public.
I
Yeah,
love that.
no, I
Yep.
think we'd appreciate any input
Yep.
people have on what they want to see.
Agreed.
Okay, no other information. We are adjourned.